Okay, Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to everyone. I hope you all can hear me. Am I audible? Am I audible? Okay. Sorry about this day today, post-election day. Maybe you all are busy or tired, but I think today is a suitable day to do this chapter, so we are gonna do it. It's about the biomes which you have in environmental biology. So there is always an MCQ about the biomes. Usually there is an MCQ about the biomes, but sometimes there will be some essays also or structure question. A small you will have a part of a structure question also sometimes. But usually, if you check the past papers of the last few years from 2019, you might be able to see that there is always an MCQ on biomes. So that is the reason why I chose to teach you all biomes, because you might have studied until unit 5, and that is very important. Until unit 5, you have to be very thorough to get an A. Otherwise, you won't be able to get an A. That is the truth. Okay, for until you 15 you should be able, you should be like, you should know everything about it. Then you will get an A. But then to enhance your A or to confirm your A, you should make sure that you get more than at least more than 40 MCQs. Or it's okay, you can, even if you get 38 or something and you did part 2 very well, then it's fine, because that is also possible. But then targeting for 40 is the biggest thing you need for biology. So that is where the biomes, this 7th unit, 8th, 9th, 10 units help you, because you might be getting ready for all the essays that comes from the first 5 units. Some people also learn about few essays in these units, like in environmental biology you might have some areas where they are asked about you some challenges in environment, something like that. Those things you also can get ready. So today we will be learning on biomes, and I have made like a short note. You can take a screenshot if you want. Okay. One thing you have to understand is that you have to remember that there's nothing to teach. It's all about uh, remembering most of the part. But here I'm going to facilitate you how to remember it easily. Okay. Still you will forget, but then it is okay. This is one of the chapter that you have to see when you're going before the exam. So usually the biology part 1 exams, they have it in the evening around at 1. So in the morning time you can just go through this data. It's like some numerical data, so you remember them. Okay. So first, what is a biome? We've never heard about biome until we come to A level. Okay. The biome is a new word. Now this biome, it's basically an area. Like Sri Lanka, biome is an area. It is a geographical area. It is something physical. Okay, so it's a geographical area which you classified according to the uh, predominant vegetation found there. That is how you differentiate it. It depends on the vegetation. The vegetation will differentiate the geographical area. Okay, so the climate and geography, those are the two main things that determines the type of biome. Okay. uh, Geography and climate, these two are the things that will determine the existence of the biome. And each of these biome, they will consist of ecosystems. Okay, the ecosystems, many ecosystems will be there in a biome, or else there will be one ecosystem will be modified to a biome. It can be in either way. Okay, usually we say there are many ecosystems in a biome, but this biome does not come in the organizational level. Okay, that doesn't come in the organizational level. You will never see biome anywhere. So after ecosystem you have biosphere. That is it. That biosphere is not biome, that you have to remember. So biome is a different thing. It's a large geographical area that you determine according to the climate and the geography, and also according, main thing is the predominant vegetation that is there. This each biome, as I told, it will have many ecosystem, but there will be small differences in climate, topography, soil conditions, those things, it will differ. These things will differ. Most, what we study here are the terrestrial biomes. We study here are the terrestrial biomes. So what are the terrestrial biomes? These are the terrestrial biome we are going to study here. But you have to remember, these are not only the biomes in the world. There are more than these biomes, okay? Here you have 3, 6, 8, 8 biomes. Not 8 biomes, there are many biomes, but they have only given you these 8 biomes, okay? So first thing you have to remember is that biome depends on the predominant vegetation, and also the climate and geography will determine it. And each biome will have small differences in these 3 things, in the climate, topography, and the soil conditions. These are the 8 biomes we are going to learn. They can ask you, give some example for biomes you know. Then you can write tropical forest, savanna, desert, chaparral, temperate grassland, temperate broadleaf forest, northern coniferous forest, and tundra. That is the most easiest question they can ask. What are the biomes? What are the biomes, you know? Now we are going to learn about each and every biome. So this picture, this might be visible to you. So this picture is something similar to what we see in most of the hill countryside in Sri Lanka, right? So whenever you are going through that way in the hill country area or in the middle of the Sri Lanka, you will be able to see this kind of a picture. But this is a scenario you will see. So this is a tropical forest. Okay, that is a tropical forest. So tropical forest, first, whenever you are studying about a biome, you should know its distribution. That is first thing, okay, distribution. Then you have to know the annual rainfall. Then you have to know the average temperature. And then the vegetations that is there, and sometimes the animals that live in those biomes. And lastly, you need to know what are the problems that are currently there for these biomes, or some challenges for these biomes. Okay, that is the order you have to study. So I have prepared this note according to that. If you want, you can take a screenshot and have it, or else you can write it also. Right. Now, tropical forest. So as you know, I told this is mostly found in Sri Lanka. So it is obviously close to the equator and extends to the sub-equatorial area. So what is sub-equatorial areas? So this is the globe, and let's say this is the equatorial. This is the sub-equatorial places. Okay, this is the sub-equatorial places. So this tropical forest is distributed in those areas, and the special thing about the tropical forest is you have 2 types. You have rainforest and dry forest. And we should know each and every detail of both the forest. So the rainfall in the rainforest is from 2000 to 4000 millimeter. I think this is like a high, right? 2000 to 4000 millimeter. And you will see a constant rainy season here. You will see a constant rainy season in these rainforest. And but on the other hand, in dry forest you have a little bit of low rainfall, where there is 1500 to 2000 millimeter, which consists of a dry seasons which will extend for 6 to 7 months. Okay, but the rain forest, they don't have a dry season. That you have to remember. Dry forest they do, but they don't have. Then when we come and look at about the average temperature in rainforest, it is 25 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius, which is quite okay. But then when you come to dry forest, it is like 33 degrees Celsius. Okay, these things you have to obviously remember. So today you will learn, and after a few days you will learn for some other subjects, right? Some other subjects, some other exams, and then you will forget. But then when you again see for your final exam, you will remember it. Don't worry. Right. Then first we will look about the tropical rainforest. This tropical rainforest, we have to see about this type of the vegetation here. In tropical rainforest, there is an emergent layer. This is the emergent layer. Then you have the canopy layer, emergent layer, canopy layer, and the subcanopy layer. So you can see this is the main thing. canopy layer is the main thing you need to know. But then you have some plants that come up, that is the emergent layer, and some plants that is here, that is a subcanopy layer. So these three are, they are in the tropical rainforest. And also following this, you have a understory layer. So what is understory layer? This is the understory layer. Okay, this is the understory layer. This understory layer will consist of shrubs, large herbaceous plants. Those things will be there. So you know about shrubs, small plants. Okay, herbaceous plants. And the forest floor. Finally, you have the forest floor, which is this. This is the forest floor. In this forest floor, you will have small herbaceous plants. The large herbaceous plants you had in understory. In the forest floor, you have the small herbaceous plants. Then small mushrooms, they will be very tiny, a thick layer of dried plant litter. Okay. Now these plants, they will shed some leaves, right? They will shed some leaves. That will be there as a dried plant litter. That will be there as a dried plant litter in the forest floor. So, you know, the vegetation in the tropical rainforest is arranged in several vertical layers. That is in several vertical layers, right? And this is what you call it as stratification. This is called stratification. Why? You have strata. Like in levels you have. So that is stratification that you have in the rainforest. But luckily you don't have anything like this for the dry forest, so you don't have to remember anything. And then comes the plants. Mainly in tropical rainforest, the evergreens are prominent here. But in the dry forest, you will have deciduous species fall in the dry season. What is deciduous species? Those are the plants that will shed leaves in some seasons. So in the dry seasons, these plants in the dry forest will shed some leaves. They are the leaves of deciduous species. They will fall in the dry season, which was 6 to 7 months. Okay, and epiphytes. There are epiphytes, which is very common in the rainforest, but in the dry forest they are less common. Okay, so epiphytes are there. What is epiphytes? It's, you know, you might have learned about an example. The orchid plant is an example for epiphytes. It will be dependent on its host plant. Okay, it will be dependent on the host plant. So that is epiphytes. So these epiphytes are very common in rainforest, but not in the dry forest. That is not in the dry forest, right? And then you have shrubs. There are some shrubs with thorns as well as succulent plants, which is in the dry forest. So why do you think shrubs with thorns? Maybe the plants are modified into thorns because dry forest, the temperature is high and they should avoid transpiration. That could be one reason. Then you have succulent plants. It is to store the water. It is to store the water. They won't ask you why. I'm just telling you so that you can remember. Right. Then these tropical forests, they constitute the higher diversity of plants and animals out of all terrestrial biomes. So this they can ask, which is the following has the higher diversity of plants and animals out of all the terrestrial biomes. Why they mention terrestrial biomes? There are some aquatic biomes also that we don't learn here. So in aquatic biomes, the answer is different. In the terrestrial biomes, this is the answer. Right, so that is one thing. And then we come for the animals. Oh yeah, the animals. So it has many mammal species, that is 5 to 30 million species of arthropods, some of which have not been fully described yet. We don't know about it. There are many mammal species. They haven't mentioned any example, but there is 5 to 30 million species of arthropods. Basically, these are forests, no? So when they are forests, there will be many insect species. So 5 to 30 million species are there. So that is something you have to remember. 5 to 30 million species of arthropods, because it's a number. So you have to remember. So animals in these biomes, they have some adaptation that will suit the environment. So what are they? So animals in the rainforest, they will show year-round activity. But is year-round activity, they don't have any hibernation thing or migration thing. They will be there all around the year. That is one thing. And then camouflage. So you might have known about camouflage, right? Let's take snakes or some bugs, something. They will camouflage with the environment itself to save them zebras, they are not mainly found in these forests, but then mainly leopard, they have markings, so you can identify them. And then there are some birds, they will migrate to other regions in the dry period, so that is not common in the rainforest. Okay, that is common in the dry forest. When there is dry season, the birds, they will migrate. Okay, they will migrate. But in the rainforest, there are they show a year-round activity. So that is about the animals. Then we come to the problems related to this biome. Main problem is now it is a forest, so there will be human involvement in agriculture and some development related activities. That is the main thing that is found in the biome. So this question they can ask, but give one problem that is related to tropical forest. Right, so that we have finished one biome. Then this is another biome. You can see this is not that, you might have not seen this in Sri Lanka, but sorry, this might be a familiar picture to you, not much seen in Sri Lanka, so you might have guessed this is savanna. So savanna, it is close to the equator and sub-equatorial areas, just like tropical forest. Okay, just like tropical forest, it is close to the equator and the sub-equatorial areas, but not that common in Sri Lanka. So I'm not going to tell everything that is in your resource book, because that you can obviously see these are main things that you should know. So the average annual rainfall is 300 to 500 millimeter, and there is a prolonged dry season, because you can obviously guess, right? Because 300 to 500 millimeter per year is very less. So if it is very less, then there should be some dry season. So you can see 8 to 9 months they have dry seasons, so that the annual rainfall is less. And the average temperature comes up to 24 to 29 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we know 24 to 29 degrees Celsius we had somewhere else also. Not 24 to 29, that was 25 to 29. Okay, that's fine. However, in sub-equatorial areas, there will be some seasonal variations. Okay, so it's not exact. There can be some seasonal variations also. But this is the normal thing you have to remember. Savannas, they are characterized by a landscape that supports scattered trees. So you can see the scattered trees here, here. These are scattered, right? They are not like what we saw in tropical forest. In tropical forest, you were able to see the stratification, but here you only have scattered trees. But they have tall grass cover. There is tall grass cover. So scattered trees in the tall grass cover. And during the dry periods, these dried grasses, they will catch fire easily. Why? Because they are already dried, and those dried things, they can easily catch fire. So that is one thing that happens here. So therefore, the grasses should be adapted to withstand this problem, right? To the drought. They naturally grow in the savannas, and they have some adaptation to withstand this drought. So one thing is they have very good underground connectivity. Underground connectivity in the sense, so let's say this is the ground, and there is a plant, and there is a plant like this. They are connected like this, and they go very long. They go very long. That is one thing. So they have a good underground connectivity. There are few herbs that may be found among the grass covers which has small leaves. Why small leaves? You have to reduce the transpiration. That is the reason. Okay, that is the reason. Small leaves to reduce the transpiration. And there are thorns. Why thorns? Because there are some herbivores in the savanna area. They might come to eat these plants. So when they have thorns, they might be safe. So protection from the herbivores. That is another thing. And then in few herbs found among grass cover. So these thorns not everywhere. In few herbs that is found among the grass cover. They also have some seasonal rain, so that there will be a fresh growth of grasses to compensate which were lost. Okay, we told, but I told you that during the dry season, they might be dried and they might catch fire. So there is a very good loss of biomass. So you have to compensate it. So to compensate it, there are seasonal rain which will help in the fresh growth of the grasses. When we come for the animals here are many insects, mainly termites, many insects and mainly termites. There are lions, zebras. So in the book, in the picture you have in your book, it has many zebras. They have some adaptations as well. They also have some adaptation. They have effective locomotion so that they can do long distance migration. Example, lion and zebras, zebras, they can run very fast because of the effective locomotion. So long distance migration. Then they have long range of vision. They can look for a very long distance. That is a long range of vision. Okay. Long range of vision. That is for the hunting, because now this can be in either way. Now, lion have long range vision to see a zebra, which is far away, as well as the other way. The zebra also it also can see the lion that is coming to catch it. So that is also one thing. So that is for hunting. So these are the two things you have to remember regarding the savanna. Then what are the problems related to these savanna? Human settlements are from a very early time has been reported in these areas, and due to rearing of cattle and hunting of animals by the humans, the populations of mammals have been decreased. It's because of the rearing of the cattle and hunting of animals. So therefore, mammals have been reduced. And also there are some fires that is caused by human. Fires that are caused by human that will help to maintain the grass cover of this biome in one way. How? Because when there are fires, they will they will release some nutrients that are needed for the growth of grass cover. So these grass covers can grow very well, but there is also some negative impact of the growth of the trees, because growth of the trees will be suppressed, but then the grass cover will be maintained. Okay, so the problem related to this biome is rearing of cattle and hunting of animals by the humans, right? That is about the savanna. That's all for savanna. You have to remember the values. Yeah, we all are very unlucky. We have to remember. Learn to remember. You have to remember more when you come to medical field. Right. Now what you see is very easy one. Okay, this is a desert. Obviously not found in Sri Lanka, you know. Right, so this is a desert. Let's see about the desert. The distribution of the desert is, it is a temperate or tropical biome. Okay, now that is something you have to know. What is temperate? Now let's take a globe, and here you have the equator. This is the tropical area and this is the temperate area. Okay, this is the temperate area. Okay, this desert that can be either a temperate biome or tropical biome, because it is there in the temperate area as well as in the tropical area. So it is a temperate or tropical biome commonly occurring near 30° north and south latitudes. Okay. Now 30° north and south latitudes in the sense, this is the equator up to 30° here and here. South latitudes, example Sahara. And in the center of the continent, then there are some other deserts which is in the center of the continent. Example, in the North Central Asia, you have Gobi Desert. Okay, so you have two examples, Sahara and Gobi Desert. The distribution of the biome is determined mainly by the non-availability of the water, because we all know if it is a desert, the water is very less. Okay, so it has the annual rainfall which is less than 300 millimeter, and the temperature can be like up to 50° Celsius in the hot deserts. There are also cold deserts. Okay, there are also cold deserts that will be completely cold. Which will have minus 30° Celsius. Okay, so the hot very extreme, the cold very extreme. That you have to remember. Okay. And desert, they have more bare lands, that you all know. So vegetation is very less, sparse and widely scattered. The adaptations, there are so many adaptations by the plants to withstand the high temperature and the scarcity of water. Two problems: high temperature and their scarcity of water also. So the plants are adapted. This we know from grade 5, right? From grade 5, they have been teaching what are the adaptations of the plants that are in the desert. So succulent plant body to store water. Most plants have C4 pathway of photosynthesis. So that you might have known. What is the reason for C4 pathway of photosynthesis? That is one thing. Deep root in shrubs. So why deep roots? So that the plants can go deep and find water in the underground. That is the reason. And they have the ability to tolerate the heat and desiccation. So they will tolerate it. Our plants in our Sri Lankan environment won't tolerate the heat because they are not adapted. But then these plants, they might have some genes or anything that can tolerate the heat and the desiccation. And there will be reduced surface area of leaves. Why? To reduce the transpiration. Presence of spine or thorns. Why? Because leaves are modified into spines or thorns so that they can reduce transpiration. And presence of toxins in leaves. Why toxins in leaves? To save themselves from the predators. Oh, not the predators, from the herbivores. Adaptation. How many you have? 7. At least remember 5. Better to remember all 7. Right. Then we come to the animals. So when we talk about the animals, you might have known that the desert have some, those arthropod things which are very scary. Those are there. And nocturnal animals. In the daytime, they don't come out because it's very hot. But in the night time, they come out. Example, you have snake, lizards, beetles, ants, scorpions, rodents, birds. All these are very scary. So rodents, this is a rodent. You might have not seen a rodent. So this is a rodent. Okay. So these are some of the animals that you can see in desert. These animals, they have the ability to conserve water. Yeah, they have the ability to conserve water because that should be a prominent feature, right? Because some species, they solely depend on the water obtained during the breaking down of carbohydrates in the seeds. There will be carbohydrate in the seeds. When during the hydrolysis, obviously water is released. When you break down, there will be some water you can get. Those water, some animals, they completely depend on it. You just have to remember that water conservation is there and it is very important. And compared to the other biomes, desert is escaped from the challenges by human beings. Why? Because extreme temperature and limited water, because limited water, so that we are not able to reach that and build build urban development, those things. So agriculture is not possible there, so that desert is escaped. Okay, so you don't have any problems related to deserts for now. Then they can ask, why? What is the reason for the escape of deserts from the challenges? It's because of the extreme temperature and limited water. And that comes to the third biome, and then you have another biome here. So this biome not necessarily seen in Sri Lanka, but it's something different. And this you can see in places like America and those American continent countries. This is the chaparral. Okay, this is a chaparral. So yes, chaparral, the distribution is in the mid-latitude coastal region, such as the North America, Chile, Spain, Southern France, and South Africa. And it is also developed in Southern California. Obviously, you have to remember at least 2 or 3 of them. Okay, North America, Spain, South Africa, Southern France, Chile, and Southern California. The rainfall is 300 to 500 millimeter. So the exact same rainfall we had in another biome. Can anyone say what is the biome?
Savanna.
Exactly. So in savanna, we had 300 to 500 millimeter of rainfall. And this is how obviously you should study. Just compare and study. Otherwise, you won't be able to remember all these numbers. It's really hard. Okay. So the chaparrals, they receive this amount of average annual rainfall and they have rainy winters and dry summer. Okay, you might think why rainy winters and dry summers. I will teach you what is rainy winters and dry summer when we study about another thing later. Okay, so they have rainy winters and dry summer. The temperature is from 10 to 12 degrees Celsius, but they can go up to 40 degrees Celsius. The vegetations are very, vegetation is also not that, not like tropical forest, but they have dwarf forest. But this dwarf forest, the trees are very short. Dwarf forest and shrubs and interspersed herbaceous vegetation. So herbaceous vegetations are here and there like grasses and herbs. And chaparral is mainly prone to catastrophic wildfire. Always it is prone to catastrophic wildfire, so that the plants have to adapt for them. So what are the adaptations of the plants in chaparral? Seed germination occur only after a hot fire. When it will only happen when there is a hot fire. So that is one thing. And they have fire resistant roots, so that the upper part may damage, but the roots will still be there, so that they can again grow. And the food stored in the food is stored in the fire resistant roots. So they will help, these food stored in the fire resistant roots will help in resprouting. And quick resprouting of the mother plant enable usage of nutrients released by the fire. So fire will release some nutrients. So these nutrients will help in the resprouting. And tough evergreen leaves in woody plants to survive in drought. So there are very tough evergreen leaves which are in the woody plants. So these are some adaptations shown by the plants in chaparral to save themselves from the catastrophic wildfire. Right. This next, the animals. You have browsers, which are native. What are browsers? The deers, goats, those grazing animals. Then you have small mammals. You have small mammals. Then amphibians, birds, reptile, and insects are seen in chaparral. Problems, yes, very problematic here because it's a nice place, obviously. So problems, human settlement is there, urbanization is there, and also they are converting to the land for agricultural conversion. So agricultural conversion is there, and it is always vulnerable to fire, but that is mainly by the human activities. So that is very bad. Okay, so these are the problems related to chaparral, but they have some adaptations, and you have to remember the adaptation. Okay, and this one, the chaparral, savanna, those things, they have the potential to appear in the essay questions. Okay, savanna, chaparral, those ones. Okay, the next biome, the fifth biome. So obviously not in Sri Lanka. This is a temperate grassland in the temperate area. So they are distributed in the temperate climatic region, which are intermediate to those that support the forest and desert. These grasslands are found in North America. When they are found in North America, it is known as prairie. When it is found in Eurasia, it is known as steppe. If it is found in Argentina, it is known as pampas. Okay, so these are the different names given for temperate grasslands in different areas. That's all. Don't confuse this. They have an average annual rainfall of 300 to 1000 millimeter. Okay, they have dry winter and wet summer. Before this, you have rainy winters and dry summer. So what is dry winter? It is winter season, but you can feel dryness everywhere. You might have studied humidity in physics, so that will explain you why you have dryness in the winter. Okay, it depends on the humidity. Okay, but the summer will be wet. Although it is very sunny and it is summer, but whenever you touch something, you can feel wet. You can feel the wetness in the surfaces. It is because of the humidity thing. So temperate grasslands, they have dry winter and wet summer, but in chaparral you have the opposite. The temperature in winter season, it may go up to minus 10 degrees Celsius. In summer, it can go up to 30 degrees Celsius. And temperate grassland has precipitation, which is seasonal, and there is periodic drought also. Okay, there is drought also. So everything is extreme. Vegetation, what are the vegetations you have here? Mainly grasses. In prairie, you can divide the prairie actually into three. Prairie, what is prairie? It is temperate grassland. Okay, these temperate grassland, that's the name that is given prairie in North America. These prairie grasslands, you can divide into three. The grasslands with tall grasses, the grassland with mixed grass, The grassland means short grass. 3 types of grass. They divide according to the 3 types of grass. This big one, the tall grass that can that height is from the from it can vary from few centimeters to 2 meters, so it is very tall. But then the others they haven't given. And here also fire and drought are very common, because I told you drought is there, seasonal drought is there. But the plants growing here, they also have adaptation to cope up with fire, but luckily they didn't give one, so you don't have to remember. Then animals, large grazers like horses, and the burrowing animals, burrowing animals, they will dig holes in the land and they can live inside. So that is the burrowing animals. Prairie dogs are there. The problem, the tall grass prairie is mainly endangered. It is because they are converted to agricultural and farmlands. Converted to agriculture and farmlands. So that is the reason why they are endangered. So another question they can ask is, which is the most endangered natural ecosystem? Okay. Then you have tall grass prairie. So remember, prairie is a grassland. It is temperate grassland. This is just a name given in North America. You have 3 types of prairie according to the grass that is there, right? And that ends the temperate grasslands. Okay, so this is a beautiful one. This is also not in Sri Lanka. This is temperate broadleaf forest, right? You can see. Okay, temperate broadleaf forest. So what is the distribution? It is in the mid latitudes in the northern hemisphere, mainly in the northern hemisphere, and the average annual precipitation is between 700 to 2000 millimeter. Okay, 700 to 2000 millimeter, and there are also significant amount of precipitation. And in the summer, they will have the precipitation as rain, and winter as snow. In summer, in between, they will have some rain. This will give some rainfall, and then in winter they have snow. So they have this rainfall from 700 to 2000. The temperature in winter can go up to 0 degrees Celsius. In summer, up to 35 degrees Celsius. The summer is very hot and humid. So what is hot and humid? It is hot, but when you touch, you can feel the wetness. So that the plants can grow. Very nice environment for the plants. What are the vegetations? Deciduous. They will shed leaves. And these also have vertical layering of stratification, which you can see here. They will have a closed canopy layer, 1 or 2 strata of the understory trees, and they have shrubs or herb layer. That's it. Not like tropical rainforest. The very top you have closed canopy layer, then they might have 1 or 2 strata of the understory trees, and then in the bottom they have shrubs or herb layer. And vegetation, they have few epiphytes. Can anyone say another biome which has epiphytes? Any biome which has epiphytes?
Tropical rainforest.
Yes, tropical rainforest. Good. So they can ask, name 2 biome which have epiphytes. Then animals, you have mammals which will hibernate during the winter. You all know about hibernate, right? And then the birds will migrate to the warmer climate in cold climate times. And the problems is logging. What is logging? Getting the stems or the trunks of the plants, that is logging. And they are also being cleared for agriculture and for human settlements. So yeah, the agriculture is being cleared for human settlements. Right, so that is about the temperate broadleaf forest. Then what do you have? This one. So you can see large conifers, right? You can see large conifers. This is northern coniferous forest. This is the largest biome on Earth. This is the largest biome on Earth, and it is there in the upper band of the tundra, upper band of the Arctic tundra. The rainfall is from 300 to 700 millimeter, and there is periodic drought, obviously, because the rainfall is very less. But the temperature in winter, it can go up to minus 50 degrees Celsius, and in summer, it can go up to 20 degrees Celsius. The vegetations, mainly coniferous trees, example fir, pine, spruce. What are these plants? They are they have seeds, right? Non-flowering seed plants or something. So those are coniferous trees. They are conical shape. Why conical shape? They will help in preventing the accumulation of the snow. What happens is now they have snow always, so that will fall here. That will fall on this. So as it is conifer in shape, it will come like this. It will slide down. So there won't be any accumulation of the snow, so that the breaking down of the branches will be prevented. And there are needle-like leaves. Why needle-like leaves? To prevent high transpiration. There will be high transpiration, so you have to prevent it. So that is why if the surface area is reduced, then the transpiration will be reduced. They have less shrubs and herbs than the temperate broadleaf forest. What is the reason? It is because the temperature is very warm and there is limitations in precipitation. By the rainfall is very less. That is the reason they have less herbs and shrubs than the temperate broadleaf forest. Animals, there are mammals, brown bears, moose, Siberian tiger. You have to remember these names, okay? Animals in northern coniferous forest, brown bears, moose, Siberian tiger. There's no other way. You have to remember. Okay, so you can see these are some fancy names, right? We haven't heard of it in Sri Lanka. So in northern coniferous, they have. And the dominant plants are killed by the attack of the insects. That is also there. Problem related is no, people cannot go and live there. We don't go and live in the coniferous forest. But they use these coniferous plants for logging. Logging means getting the trunk or the stem for the timber. And that's about the northern coniferous forest. And now you see a very snowy area, which is not possible for us to live. So this is Tundra. Okay, this is Tundra. Tundra has another name also. I think it's taiga. Another name for Tundra is taiga, as I remember. I don't think that is important to you anyway. Anyways, so this is Tundra. So Tundra, you have two types of Tundra, and this Tundra, it occupies the 20% of the Earth land surface. So you see, 20% of the Earth land surface is just there. No human beings, nothing. It is just there. Okay, we are in the 80% of the land. So 20% is just there. So that is tundra. And you have two types of tundra, alpine tundra and arctic tundra. Alpine tundra is mainly in the altitudes on the mountains, high altitudes on the mountain. Arctic tundra is in the high latitudes. That is not necessarily in the mountains. Even in the low level, you can see the Arctic tundra. But alpine tundra is in the mountains. So you know alpine tundra should be a little bit extreme than the Arctic tundra. Very less precipitation, but soil is always moist, very moist. Why? Because very little evaporation. You know this is obviously in the Arctic region. So little evaporation. All the precipitation is less due to the little evaporation, and also deep rain is prevented by the frozen soil. The soil is frozen. The soil is frozen so that the water cannot go down. So it will always be on the land. It will always be on the land so that the soil is moist. The rainfall is very less, 200 to 600 in Arctic, but in Alpine, because of its altitude on the mountains, it is more than 1000. Temperature, it can go up to minus 30 degrees Celsius in winter and more than 10 degrees Celsius, no, little bit less than 10 degrees Celsius in summer. But other plants you have here, mainly herbaceous plants, which are grasses and forbs. Forbs is like something like ferns, okay? Then you have shrubs, mosses, lichens, trees. So, you know, these need very soil, very moist environment. So that is there. And permafrost layer in the sense, the frozen soil, it will inhibit the growth of the root of plants. Why? Because the soil is frozen, right? So the roots can't penetrate. That is one reason. And what are the animals you have here? Large grazing animals like caribou and reindeer. You have to remember these names. Then musk oxen, predator wolves, fox, bears. Spelling is wrong here. Okay. Migratory birds in summer. So these are the animals there. The problem here is, you know, obviously not human settlement or agriculture, because that is not possible at all. Right? So extraction of mineral and oil are the problem in the Tantra. So that is about the Tantra, and we have finished 7 biomes. Basically, as I told you in the beginning, there's nothing for me to teach you. It is for you to remember. But then what you can do is, after finishing this class, you can take a big SIA paper, like two pages combined together, that SIA paper, and you can put a chart. Okay. How can you put the chart? Now you can divide your papers like this. You divide it for like something like this, and then you can write here the distribution, the rainfall, then what else, temperature, animals, plants, and the problems, right? And then write here what are the biomes: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to the 8, up to 7, 8 to 7, right? Yeah, 8, 7. Write the biomes and write in short forms, small points. Then what you can do is, before going to the exam, you can just look at it and go. Right, that is the thing you have to do after this exam, after this session. Some people might have done, some others might not have done, but it's best to do if you need an aid. Okay, and okay, this is a picture that you have in your book. This has a big prominence because they ask questions from this. So you have to see what is the distribution here. If you go from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, usually they ask from here to here. Why? Related to Sri Lanka. So first you have tropical forest, then you have this one is the desert, then here this is the temperate grassland, this is coniferous forest, and this is Tantra. They have asked in one of the year. That is the reason I am telling. Right. If you have any doubts, you can ask me regarding the biomes. If you are putting in chat, I won't be able to see because I'm sharing the screen. So I hope no doubts, because obviously there cannot be any doubt. So let's do some question. Unmute your mics and please be ready. The first question, this is from your final paper itself. Okay. Which of the following responses indicates the biome in increasing order of average annual rainfall precipitation? So let's go one by one. What is the average annual rainfall of Arctic Tundra?
Around 200 to 600 millimeter.
200 to 600. Very good. That's 200 to 600. What about temperate grassland?
$300 to 1,000.
300 to 1,000. Temperate broadleaf forest?
700 to 2,000.
700 to 2,000.
2,000.
So the first question itself, you get the answer because that is in the increasing order. That is in the increasing order. But just let's see. Okay, the temperate grassland we already saw. What is savannas? Savanna is
300 to 500.
300 to 500. Tropical rainforest, that is the highest, I think.
2,000 to 4,000.
2,000 to 4,000.
Yes, 2,000 to 4,000. Deserts, just like savanna, right? 300. Not deserts. Desert is less than 300. Right. Alpine tundra, a little bit high.
About 1,000.
More than 1,000, yes. Then you have northern coniferous forest.
300 to 700.
300 to 700. And then you have chaparral, which is 300 to 500. And that's it. Okay, so you have the answer in the first one. So you can see the importance of knowing the values. Okay, importance of knowing the values, because they really ask this question. I can't remember what year, but it is from the final paper. Then 3 animals that live in tundra are. Okay. Now this one also I told you have to remember, because they usually ask. Okay. But caribou, wolf, and bear. Is it there?
No.
Yes. Caribou is there, wolf is there, bear is there. Second one, Siberian tiger. Where do you have Siberian tiger?
Northern coniferous forest.
Northern coniferous forest, yes. Fox is there in the tundra. What about brown bear?
Northern coniferous forest.
That is also northern coniferous forest. Reindeer,
Tundra.
tundra. Then tiger, that is fine. And moose you have in northern coniferous forests. The musk oxen is in tundra. That is all you have to remember. So the answer is first one here also. So this is the one I told you that they asked, when you go from Sri Lanka northward along a straight line path, what are the biomes you will encounter? Okay. Should be a hard situation for the students sitting for this year. Okay. So when we see when a migratory bird that flies northward from Sri Lanka along a straight line path, that is what I told here. Okay, that is what I told here. So you will have tropical forest, desert, temperate grassland, northern coniferous forest, and tundra. Unless you remember the whole picture, you won't be able to do this question. But it's better now that you know, so you have to little bit be conscious about it. Okay. Then these are some part two questions from structure. This has the answers also. Let's just see. State the main anthropogenic activity that has severely affected each of the following biospheres. So what is anthropogenic activities? Our activities, human activities. That is the anthropogenic activity. Okay, in tundra, extraction of mineral or oil. Temperate grasslands, they are converting to agricultural land or farmlands. And northern coniferous forest, they do logging. This is from 2022. Yeah. Then they have been asked in essay, right? Short notes and desert plant. That is the reason I told you chaparral and desert. Desert they have asked chaparral and savanna. That could be asked. Okay, chaparral and tundra also they sometimes ask. Right, short notes and desert plants. So basically those adaptations. That's all they have given. So that's an easy marks. So these are some questions from FWC papers. Correct statement regarding tropical rainforest of the world. First one, annual rainfall is 1,250 to 1,900. Is it correct?
False.
False. But what is the correct value?
2,000 to 4,000.
2,000 to 4,000. When you are doing the question, when you are practicing now, just practice with these reviews so you won't forget. Okay, that's what I did. So that is what I'm telling you. So average temperature, is it 20 to 25?
No.
No, it's 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. Its soil is rich in nutrients. Okay, let's just keep that statement because we are not very sure. They haven't mentioned anything like that. But let's go for the next one. Animals in the rainforest show year-round activity. Is it true?
Yes.
Yes, that is the answer. Then dry season, it lasts up to 3 to 6 months. In rainforest, you don't have a dry season at all. That is in tropical dry forest. So that is the thing. So fourth one is the answer. So this question, I'm gonna skip it. This one, regarding biomes, deserts are only restricted to temperate regions. True or false? it true or false? It's false, right? Because deserts are in tropical region also. It is in tropical region also. It's not restricted to temperate regions. Next, dominant trees in the temperate broadleaf forest are mostly deciduous. Is it correct? Yes, that is true, right? Dominant trees of the temperate broadleaf forest are mostly deciduous. Yes. Precipitation of Arctic tundra is higher than that of alpine tundra. No, why? Because alpine tundra is in the high altitudes of the mountains, so that is false. Chaparral is a deciduous forest. They haven't mentioned like that. The largest biome has an annual average precipitation of 200 to 500 millimeter. What is the largest biome?
Northern coniferous.
Yeah, northern coniferous forest. The northern coniferous forest has 300 to 700. So that is again wrong. Okay, so those questions from FWC, and this is from Morato paper. Yeah, this is from Morato paper. Name the biome belong to the given each characteristic. Animals have effective locomotion for long distance migration. What is it?
Savanna.
Savanna. If I see questions like this, I'll be very happy. So they have long vision also, right? They have long vision also for hunting. Seed germination occurring only after a hot fire.
Chaparral.
Chaparral, yes. Chaparral. Next, which biome contain plant epiphytes? Which biomes? So, you remember I asked this question when I was teaching. So, what are the two biomes?
Tropical forest and temperate broadleaf forest.
Okay. Then, what is the largest biome in the world? Coniferous, easy. Name the terrestrial biome which approximately covers the 20% of the Earth's surface.
Tundra.
Name a biome which has each of the following characteristics. Wandering of nocturnal animals. Nocturnal animals come out when it is very hot. They won't come out when it is very hot. So they just come in the night. So which biome is this?
Desert.
Desert, yes. Having few epiphytes. Now this is tricky. You have to write only one. So few epiphytes.
Temperate broadleaf forest.
Because in rainforest you have, it's very common, right? Few epiphytes is there in temperate broadleaf forest. Final one, state two biomes which are least affected by human activities. Just say one. Let's see. You can say two. You can say two. Yeah, you can say two. Tundra and another one.
Desert. Desert.
Yeah, but tundra. Anyways, extraction of mineral oils, it is by human activities. And this one is desert. They have given tundra also, but it's fine. Give desert as the first answer. Okay, so that is about the biome. So you can see the type of questions they ask, and obviously you will get one MCQ. So just go through this. If you have any doubts now, you can put in the chat. Yes, you will get the recording that will be uploaded in some days, and carbohydrate thing for plants or animals. I'm not sure if I can send the short note. Okay, I'll try to send. Anything else? If you have anything else, you can ask. No need to memorize, but you have to know certain questions they ask, right? You have to know the points, yes. Anything else you have to ask?